Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ultimate Music Lover, album reviews, unboxings, etc. back with another video. It's been a long time since I've done one, so I just finally wanted to sit down and take the time, now that I have some time, free time on my hands, to do another album review. Real quick, the dryer is going, and by the looks of it, I heard thunder earlier, so if you hear any thunder in the background or anything like that, that's just background noise. So I'm just warning you ahead of time so you know what to expect. But yeah, it's been pretty intense. From the time I published this video, I just finished high school yesterday. So I'm kind of freaking out because my life is starting to progress and college is coming up. My future as a music major in trumpet performance is coming up. So there's a lot of things happening at once. So I was getting prepared and ready for this. But now that it's my summer vacation, I still have graduation coming up, but that's it. It's officially my summer vacation. So now that I have summer vacation, I'm going to be doing more album reviews and posting more on the channel now that I have time on my hands. So, enough about that. I'll get more into detail about updates and all that other good stuff in another video. Today we're going to talk about a very special album, and this album review is way overdue. I apologize in the meantime. Song by Helmet. That's a band I've been getting into recently. That is not the album. I will do a review on Meantime at some point, but until then, we're going to talk about a wonderful album that I've gotten into, because it's just, I don't know how to describe this album. You've seen the title. The album is the pinnacle of the shoegaze genre. And in case you're not sure what I'm talking about, it is My Bloody Valentine's Loveless. And I do have the CD, the LP, and yes, even the cassette version. When I first discovered this album, I want to give a shout out to Fallen Angel Crimson, the YouTube username, by the way, because they were the reason I got into this album. First time I heard this album was actually 2 days before its 32nd anniversary. It was on November 3rd of 2023. I was with the band going away on an away game, so we had to take a bus for that. And on that day of the away game, we were going out to a town that's like a city 3 hours away from where I live. So yeah, it was pretty far away. But to calm me on the long bus ride, I always listen to music. So I decided that I was going to take some time and listen to this album. So the first time I heard it was in the morning on the day of, because we didn't leave on the bus until the afternoon. So I listened to 2 albums because Fallen Angel Crimson suggested 2 albums to me. Porno for Pyros' debut album, and this album. So I started off the day listening to Porno for Pyros' debut album. I learned about the album, that it was members from Jane's Addiction, and then just with another drummer and bass player. I'll have to get into some Jane's Addiction, speaking of which. So, Fallen Angel Crimson, if you are watching this video, trust me, I'm gonna get to all your recommendations. I've been on a path lately, so just keep that in mind. But it was a pretty good album. I should go back and listen to it, because the first time I heard it, I wasn't very fond of it. I listened to some of the lyrics, and just, lyrically I didn't connect with it, but on a musical level, it was cool. It was great. It wasn't bad. it was definitely better than a lot of modern stuff I've heard that is now currently playing on the radio. But I heard that album, wasn't very fond of it. So after that, I decided to listen to this album, and I was pretty shocked. I was pretty blown away. The first few times I heard it, though, I heard it like 3 times that day. The first 2 or 3 times I heard it, I wasn't very fond of it either, but it was so interesting that I decided to come back to it because I was listening to the song Soon on repeat, because that was my favorite song from the album at the time. And yeah, so after hearing it, I came back to it like the 4th or 5th time. I'm talking about Loveless, by the way. I came back to it the 4th or 5th time and was just, like I said, I was absolutely stunned. I was blown away because even though the recording of this album is not the best, the soundstage and like what I mean by soundstage is like how broad the recording sounds. The recording quality might not be the best, but the soundstage is huge compared to other albums. Like most albums have a soundstage that sound this big, but like with all the different layers of guitars and the distortion and the different pedals used, the soundstage of this album automatically goes to this, and that's most shoegaze albums, to be honest. But yeah, I just heard it and I was blown away for life. I was very impressed by the quality of the music, like how freaking good it was written. I didn't care so much about the quality of the recording as I did about the quality of the music, because this album just takes you into a daydream state. Like all of a sudden you go from like this current moment to just daydream, and it's just very, very nice. Like from the different layers of guitars to the soft but punchy sound of the bass and the drums. I actually like the drums being mixed a little quieter than most things, because although drummers are awesome and they sound great and I have nothing against them, there's a lot of drums in a lot of albums, including my own, that are a little louder than the other instruments. So the fact that the drums were just a little bit quieter on this album, I actually liked that. Gave a little bit of an emphasis on the album. So overall, I enjoy it. It's very good. Really like it. It's been 6 months now, I think. Let's see. Yeah, it's been more than 6 months, like 6.5 months since the first day I discovered this, almost. It'll be 6.5 months on the 17th, which is graduation. No, it was good. I still listen to it at least once a day. I listened to it this morning, and it takes me back to the very first time I heard it. It sounds just as good, if not better. So, just like Smashing Pumpkins' Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. But the problem with that album is I did wear it out, and then I discovered the people that made the Smashing Pumpkins big and famous. So once I discovered this album, I realized, oh, so that's where Smashing Pumpkins got their sound. Because now I listen to Smashing Pumpkins and I'm like, yeah, these guys are just My Bloody Valentine ripoffs. Not that I hate them. I love the Smashing Pumpkins. They're definitely up there. But they're never surpassing My Bloody Valentine now that I've discovered the origin of their music. Because it's beautiful. It's wonderful. And this album is... I've never heard anything like this before. It's just mind-blowing. And my mind is blown every time I hear it, like I've mentioned before. And I've come to listen to other shoegaze bands like Slow Dive, Lush, I plan on getting into ride at some point because shoegaze is my genre right now. But I've heard Slowdive Souvlaki and Luscious Spooky, and I've really, really liked those albums also. So those will be future reviews coming because Luscious Spooky also blew me away. But now for a song-on-song analysis of the album, we're going to start off with Only Shallow. So keep in mind, every song on here is a 10 out of 10 unless otherwise mentioned. And I think the only exception is Touched, and I'll get into why in a second. But that song, that 56-second freaking instrumental, still has somewhat of a significance to me. So I'll explain why it's only a 9 out of 10 when I get to it. But we're going to start off with Only Shallow. So the opening of this song is intense. Like, it starts off with a 8th note count off from the drums. 3 and 4 and then it gets into it. So it's like 3 and 4 and boom. And the moment that downbeat happens, you just hear like 2 or 3 different guitars all of a sudden going. So like you get all of this bending like from the whammy bar, and then you have all these different sound effects layered over each other. So you're just getting hit with this wall of guitars just all of a sudden. And that puts me in a mood, you know? Like the first time I heard it, I was like, whoa, cool! I was blown away. And then after about like 15 or 20 seconds of like headbanging to it, because that's literally what I did the first time I ever heard it, I was like... And then the Belinda Butcher's soft vocals came in, overlayered by Kevin Shields' mumble track. And then I went... and just calmed down all of a sudden because it got all calm. And the vocals... I actually like the fact that you can't necessarily tell what they're saying, and the vocals that are out there circling around the internet are just pure guesses on what they might be saying, because that just adds a whole other love to the album that is not present in other genres of music or other albums. So the fact that you get these soft, dreamy-like vocals that you can't even distinguish, it puts you into a deeper daydream state, at least for me anyway. It put me in a deeper daydream state, and I could just imagine anything that Belinda Butcher was saying. Like, I was hypnotized by her voice. And then you get the layer of guitars again, and then you just want to go and headbang to it, and then it gets all calm and nice and simple again. Like, this album jumps back and forth a lot, but this song in particular does. Like, it's like a switch. Like, you switch from like headbanging mood and then back to like, chill out, this is not that kind of a song. And then you hear the wall of guitars, and then you're just like, well, I want to headbang again. Like, very intense intro. I was very, very surprised by the wall of guitars that just came in, like the first time I heard it, and now I'm just used to it, but it still blows me away every time. Makes me want to headbang to it. Now on to Loomer. This track is just guitar. I'm pretty sure it's just Belinda's vocals too, but throughout the entire album, Belinda Butcher recorded her vocals, and then Kevin Shields basically said the same words but mumbled them, and then they turned that mumble track up so that it would be hard to understand what the lyrics were actually saying, because that's the beauty of shoegaze genre. It's supposed to create a dreamy effect like that, which I really like. So, okay, so back to what I believe the song is about real quick. So in Only Shallow, that's the intro. That's when the main character just wants to escape into a daydream for a while. And so they do so. That's like the beginning of their daydream phase. And then as you get into Loomer, the main character of the song, or the album, because I put the story, like, I think of an album as a story, and that every song is just a chapter of that story. So once you get to Loomer, the main character at this point cannot find another way to escape into a daydream kind of mode, or mood, I guess. I meant mood, not mode. So what they do is they end up going to a party and trying to talk to, I'm gonna say it's a man in this context. It could be a woman, depending on how you take it. But I'm just because I'm male, I'm just gonna put my shoes into this and just tell you how I perceive the album. So just keep that in mind. Is most of this is my perception. It's my own opinion. It's not really what it could be about. It's just more of how I feel about it. But I'm open-minded to anything, so just keep that in mind. So anyway, so at this point, the main character wants to go and talk to a group of girls, just to get past their sorrow or what they're feeling, because they want to escape into a daydream kind of mood. So they do that by going to a party. And that's if the lyrics are accurate, that's essentially what the song is about, is just finding ways to escape, and the only way to escape is through that party. So I've basically repeated the same thing 3 times, so I hope that made sense. And then comes the 56 second track, Touched. So this is a 9 out of 10 because I still resonate with it, but like out of all the other songs on the album, it's just one that doesn't really resonate with me. But I can see where it fits into the story. So how I like to see the song is the main character is still trying to find a way to get into a daydream, but they can't seem to do it. So there's like 20 different paths that they can pick. And they don't know which one to pick. Like, they're looking around thinking, which daydream do I have? Do I go through this way? Do I go that way? Do I go that way? Do I go that way? Like, where do I go? Is basically what they're getting at. Like, which direction do I pick? And so by the time it transitions into the next song, they look and they find a path and they're like, oh wait, that's the one I want to go on. And then they pick that one and go through that one. And at this point, that's when it transitions to Here Knows When. This is where, in my opinion, the main character starts to have the daydream. Like, where the daydream begins. Like, this is their first sexual fantasy that they've been wanting to escape to for some time. So, after that, you get, like, you're not hit by so much overwhelming walls of guitar. Like, you're still hit by a wall of sound with the guitars, but you're not so overwhelmed as in songs like Only Shallow. This is where the album starts to calm down a little bit, and the dreamy synthesizer comes in, and then you got the bass in the background just trying to convey emotion. And then you have the wall of guitars that's sounding all lush and sweet and dreamy. And this is when the main character at this point just feels like that they're floating through their daydream. They're just watching it happen. Like their soul is embodied out of their physical body and they're just floating. If the lyrics to this song are accurate, then basically the song is conveying that this person wants to have some kind of a physical connection with their lover before they just take off for good. So in this case, this album kind of resonates with me because I'm still a virgin. But hey, if you are, by the way, Jack Piggott, the YouTuber, makes such a good point. If you're like 18 years old, still like in high school, and you still have your V card, then like you are good. That's golden. So anybody who's watching this video who's like an 18-year-old virgin like I am, don't be ashamed of it. Be proud of it. It feels great that you've still made it this far and you're still a virgin. So I can't really resonate with the sexual implications that are in this album, but I can still relate to it and connect with it a lot because I just had my first relationship this year and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So physical connections don't even have to be sex anyway. They can just be like, you know, like leaning each other's heads against each other or just holding hands, you know, something that doesn't necessarily involve emotion is what I mean by physical connections. So when I say physical connections in this album, that's what I'm talking about, is just like holding hands, you know, maybe a couple kisses or something, like leaning against each other, or hugs, like something that could convey an emotion but doesn't necessarily imply an emotion. So in the song To Hear Knows When, this is when the main character wants to have like one last physical connection with their partner, or at least in the daydream sense, before they just take off and leave. After that, it fades out, and the last 44 seconds of the song are actually Glider playing backwards. And I didn't listen to the My Bloody Valentine EPs until like, for the first time ever, until like 2 months ago. So that's when I first heard You Made Me Realize, Feed Me With Your Kiss, Glider, and Tremolo. So when I heard Glider, I was like, I wonder if I heard this somewhere. And then once I read a comment on YouTube that on a video of the To Hear Knows When ending, when they said, this is just Glider slowed and reverb played backwards, I was like, oh, now it makes sense. So every time I hear it, I hear Glider, and now every time I hear Glider, I think To Hear Knows When. So, but regardless, that little section of Glider played backwards, slowed and reverb, it conveys a whole separate emotion from the rest of the song. It's like the daydream just transitions like automatically. And then we get into the song When You Sleep. So my opinion on this one is the main character, they shift daydreams. So they don't necessarily have a daydream. Like, let's say that the main character's single. They don't have a daydream about one girl, but like multiple. So I feel that like every single song in here is a daydream about a different girl from the previous one. So To Hear Knows When is a daydream of one, and then you have When You Sleep, which is a daydream about another one, or someone that like you wished that you could have gotten with. So if there's many ways you can put this out, you can think about this album. How I personally think of it, I keep shifting, but this is how I really think about the album Loveless, is daydreams that someone has after a rejection or breakup. So now I'm going to stick with that. And I promise you all that I will not shift. So let's think about it from the rejection and the breakup lens. So To Hear Knows When, well, it's a song that's basically implying like, I hope I get to see you again kind of thing, even though we're just friends. Then When You Sleep is when the main character decides, you know what, I'm fine with you leaving me. Not the biggest deal in the world. You know, you go to bed, I go to bed, and everything's fine. Then you transition into I Only Said, and this is actually my second favorite song on the album. The moment you get this flute noise from the synthesizer, where you just hear, I get put into a daydream state myself. Like, I get caught up into it. So if the lyrics in this song are accurate, which we'll never know because the band has never posted lyrics, they've never said what the lyrics were, and they never wanted anyone to know. But if the lyrics to this song are accurate, then what this song is implying is that the main character is the only way that they can keep a connection with their significant other is through physical connections, and at this point they don't want to stay with them because that's the only way that they're getting some sort of emotion. So on an emotional sense they are distant, and then towards the end of the song when they say that I've grown away, then they're done. Now the next song, Come In Alone, this is actually really good. You just get hit by another freaking wall of guitars in this one. And if the lyrics are accurate, I'm not going to say that no more. Just keep this in mind. Keep in mind, when I say that if lyrics are accurate, that means we'll never know what they really are because no one's ever posted them. So I'm not going to say that from now on. I'm just going to say lyrics to imply what I'm saying. So the song Come In Alone, what that's implying is the main character feels that the only person that they feel like that they can trust and that they can have connection with was who they wanted to be their significant other. So instead of, like they look at their family, for example, and they think, oh, well, there's no one in my family that can make me feel the way she did. And they look at their friends and they go, oh, well, there's no one amongst my friends that can make me feel the way she did. So basically, the song is saying, you're the only one that can make me feel this way, and you're the only person that I want right here, right now. Sometimes, this is another guitar-only track. So lyrics in this one could be, close my eyes, feel me now, I don't care, but you cannot hurt me now. So at this point, the main character says they basically stop caring, or they do their best to try to stop caring because they know that they can't be hurt by emotions anymore. That no one can, outside of their family or friends, can try to influence them in such a way that hurts them. Because they feel that it is a waste of time to try to connect with that person that is doing nothing but hurting them. So they just try to find some way to cope with it and to get past it easier. So they don't have to try to force a connection amongst the person that they want to have a connection with. Blown a Wish. This is another song that gets me in that daydream state. Like, I actually think about blowing wishes everywhere. Like, that's just that kind of a song. Like, blowing wishes everywhere. So, this song, lyrics could be implying that this person wants their dream to come true. Like, they wish that what they are currently dreaming or daydreaming was a reality. So the person that they want to have a relationship with, or was trying to force a relationship upon, they want that to be their reality besides what they are experiencing in the real world. And because their heart is broken and it's falling apart and there's nothing left for them to do, they keep sitting there wishing that they can make something work. Then you have the song What You Want, and if lyrics are accurate, then What You Want is basically just a song where the main character will do anything for the person that they love or that they so-called love at that moment. And this song makes sense to me because I've been put in a position where for a long time I was trying to force relationships. I was trying to make things happen, trying to make things work out. Even when they said no, I gave it time, and then always paid attention to like when someone's birthday was or when an event was so I can get them a gift and be like, hey, here you go, here's, you know, because I wanted to show the person that I cared, even if they didn't really care about me. I wanted to show them that I cared about them. So that's basically what this song is implying: is the main character wants their so that wants their significant other that they dream about being with to know that they care about them. And as much as they sit there and they give and they give and they give, you know, in their mind, in their daydream, they're thinking that by doing that it's going to work out, that like they're just all of a sudden going to change their mind and be like, oh well, you're such a nice guy. But the truth is that's not how it is. Because honestly, there are some cold-hearted people out there. So no matter how much you sit there and you try to show them that you care, they don't even go as far as saying, oh, thank you, like I appreciate it. So many of them out there just don't care at all. Not saying that everyone's cold-hearted, and not saying that I experienced anything like that, because to be honest with you, I haven't. But with the world we're living in, that's just what it seems like it's come to. So what you want, again, is just the main character basically doing anything to make their wannabe significant other feel good and to let them know that they care about them. So, with that said, the final song on the album is Soon. This is my favorite song on the whole album. This song and I Only Said both get an 11 out of 10, not just a 10 out of 10. If lyrics are accurate, then this is basically the main character saying, please don't be afraid of me. I wasn't trying to hurt you or bring you any harm. I just want to love you and be there for you, whether it's now or later. I want to be there for you soon, is basically what it says. How I see the song, though, is basically how people see the song When You Sleep. I see Soon in the same way. I think that Soon is the song where the main character realizes that everything that they experienced before that song was just, like this nostalgic love that they used to have, that they had for this person, that they thought, like, when they wanted their daydream to be a reality, they made that their reality throughout the course of this album. So they think about all of these different scenarios in their fantasies where they dream up of this nostalgic love that they used to have, or that they've had, or they try to trick their mind into thinking that they've had a relationship with this person for like 4 or 5 years before this moment, so that they can feel at ease. But soon is when they realize that all that nostalgic love was never real and that it was made up. And rather than sitting there and dwelling in it longer, they decide to deal with the pain, which is what I believe the instrumental sections of the song is talking about. It's like they're feeling that pain deeply and almost like they're dead inside. But they just deal with it because they know that they don't want to just be tricked by this daydream anymore. So the verses of the song, like wake up, don't fear, I want to love you, I'm not sure if it's yeah, doll of pain, or it's yeah, don't go there. I let you get to me. Come back, don't be afraid of me soon, that'll harm you. Your eyes are blue, blue jewels. Come back, have faith, someone like you can find the reason of what I did to you, and then repeats the first and fourth verses are the same. Essentially, those lyrics are when the main character realizes that the person that they truly have feelings for, that they truly love in their heart, was actually in front of them the entire time. They just didn't see it because when this person was literally right here, they were too focused on the person over here. What they were trying so hard to make that relationship work that they didn't even see the possibility that was right here in front of their face. So during the last 2-minute instrumental section, that's when the main character declares, no more of the daydreams, no more trying to force this relationship and making it work. Focus on this person, give them attention, and then there might be a good turnout from it. Which is essentially what I did. So I finally declared that I'm not going to try and force relationships anymore, that I wasn't going to try to make one work, and that, forget girls, forget trying to make something happen. And that is when, my daydreams and fantasies for all these people that I was trying to force relationships upon just finally came crumbling down and just stopped and didn't even think about them anymore. And then the last 20-second instrumental section is when they see this person that was trying to get them their attention the entire time, and the main character sees this person truly for who they are and doesn't force a relationship. It just spontaneously happens, and then the two of them just live joyously and are able to make a relationship work. And that's when the album concludes. Anyway, if this is the second video, welcome to part 2 of the Loveless review. So I just finished the song on Song Analysis, and the noises you heard in the previous video was my uncle goofing off, but that's besides the point. So, my overall thoughts of the album: I love it. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Again, never heard anything like it before. And I'm blown away. I am just stunned by the sound stage of this recording, the emotions, the daydreams that convey from it, all the many things that just come with it. This album is just the beauty of music bundled together into one little package, and I love it so much. It's great. So I really have nothing else to add. My overall, besides the fact that the album is amazing, the only thing I really have to say about it is the context of this album can be put in many different ways, because what I was saying in the last video about the song Soon, we reached the end of the album, and there could be two outcomes. One, the person, the main character, asks this person that they finally give attention. They either ask them hey, do you want to be in a committed relationship? Are you ready for this to work out? They could say yes, and then that could just be it, and then they just go on and they're in a committed relationship for some time. Or they could be turned down, they can be rejected, they can say no, or a breakup can happen. One of those two possibilities tie in, and that's when the album starts over again with Only Shallow, and that's when the main character gets back into another state of mind where they want to force something to try to make something work out between this person that they've finally seen, and then someone else comes along that's trying to get their attention, but they're too focused on trying to make this thing work out. So that's basically how the album would loop or repeat itself. If it does. I don't think it does. I don't think it's intended to repeat, but if it is intended to go in an endless loop, that is how I believe it works out. That's it, though. that's it. That is everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this album review. Again, it has been a while since I've done one, so I apologize. But now that I have some time, I'll be freaking coming back and I'll be doing more reviews on more albums. I got plenty of reviews to do. I recently started getting into many bands like Helmet, Hum, The Breeders, Perfect Circle, freaking Pussifer. I got so many new albums and album reviews and albums that I loved from like 4 or 5 years ago that I still have to review. I have many reviews coming, so please stay tuned because this is not it. And there should be at the very, very least, 15 album reviews over the summer, I'm hoping. If not like 50 or 60 album reviews. So that's it for this video and for the previous video. That's it for the Loveless album review. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed these videos, please go leave a like on them. Comment down below what you believe this album is trying to say, or what your perception of this album is, what your favorite tracks are. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more music-related content. And I'll catch you all on the flip side. Thank you so much.